Direct Fairways has spent a decade quietly wiring together one of the largest golf advertising networks in North America, connecting courses across the United States and Canada with local businesses looking for a captive, engaged audience. Founded in 2015, the company sits at an unusual crossroads, part media company, part marketing services firm, with a business model built entirely around a sport that draws loyal, repeat visitors week after week. The culture rewards effort and execution, not just intention, a company spokesperson says, describing how the firm tries to distinguish between employees who talk about results and those who actually produce them. That framing reflects a broader management philosophy that has shaped the company since its early days. Golf courses have long struggled to monetize the physical spaces their members and guests move through. Scorecards, tee markers, yardage books, cart signage and on-course displays sit inside the ropes for hours at a time, rarely competing for attention the way a digital ad does. Direct Fairways has built a business around that reality, giving local advertisers direct access to golfers during rounds rather than before or after them. The core offering is high-quality advertising materials and services designed to help courses grow visibility, attract new customers and enhance member engagement. For the courses themselves, the pitch is straightforward: a marketing partner that handles the production and placement of materials, at no cost to the facility, in exchange for the advertising inventory those materials carry. Since launching, the company has grown its course network steadily, reaching a scale that gives local advertisers meaningful reach across regional markets. A dental practice, home services company or restaurant can now buy into a golf-adjacent audience in a way that simply was not available to them a decade ago. The value exchange runs in both directions. Courses receive professionally produced materials they would otherwise have to budget for and manage themselves. Advertisers get placement in an environment with little visual noise and a lot of dwell time. That symmetry has allowed the company to grow its network without having to subsidize either side of the transaction heavily. Behind the client-facing business is an internal culture that company leadership says is deliberately structured around performance metrics, coaching and peer accountability. The framework is not subtle about its expectations. Leadership describes a workplace where clear performance metrics, regular feedback sessions and real-time coaching from experienced leaders are standard features, not perks. Structured onboarding and shared best practices are built into the operating rhythm. The company says new hires know quickly what success looks like and what falling short means. Everything points to a results-oriented environment that rewards consistency. The company acknowledges that not every profile fits. It says the most successful employees are self-motivated, resilient and coachable, willing to absorb feedback without becoming defensive and able to stay consistent through stretches when results are slow to arrive. It's a performance-driven environment with a strong team foundation, the spokesperson says. It's the kind of place where motivated individuals can separate themselves quickly, while still feeling part of a group that wants to see them succeed. That tension, between individual performance and collective support, is one the company says it manages deliberately rather than leaves to chance. It shows up in how teams are structured, how feedback is delivered and how the company decides who gets promoted and when. Integrity runs through the stated values alongside accountability and teamwork. Employees are expected to operate honestly in every client interaction, which the company says matters practically, not just philosophically. A sales culture that cuts corners tends to produce short client relationships. The company's pitch to local businesses depends on those relationships holding over time. Trust, once broken with a course or advertiser, is hard to rebuild in a market where word travels fast between facilities in the same region. The company points to one employee's arc as representative of how internal mobility works in practice. The person joined in an entry-level sales role with limited prior experience. No particular advantages, no industry background. Just a willingness to stay coachable and use the training resources available. Within a year, they had become a top performer and moved into a leadership role. They now mentor newer hires and contribute directly to team performance outcomes. The company holds that story up not as an exception but as a template. Their growth reflects how the company rewards dedication and results, the spokesperson says. Newer team members are often paired with more experienced employees to refine their approach. Sharing techniques, working through challenges together and offering candid feedback are built into how teams operate. The company says this collaborative structure helps people ramp up faster and raises the floor for overall team performance. Professional development does not stop at onboarding. The company invests in ongoing training programs and leadership development opportunities that include skill-building sessions on sales technique, communication, and personal growth. Leadership is described as actively involved in providing tools and guidance, not simply setting expectations and stepping back. Scaling a field sales operation is hard. Turnover tends to be high, performance varies widely, and maintaining quality across hundreds of client relationships requires systems that can outlast any individual contributor. Direct Fairways' answer to that problem is cultural consistency rather than top-down management. The leadership describes itself as hands-on, transparent, and focused on results. They set goals, track progress publicly, and recognize achievements in front of the team. They also try to connect daily work to a larger purpose, helping local businesses grow, which gives employees something to point to beyond raw commission figures. That sense of purpose is not incidental to the business model. When a sales representative can point to a local restaurant or contractor whose business expanded because of their work, the job takes on meaning that quota figures alone cannot supply. The company leans on that connection to keep people engaged during the stretches when results are inconsistent. Recognition comes in multiple forms, including performance-based incentives, bonuses, and public acknowledgement within the team. Promotions, top performer rankings, and personal milestones are called out to reinforce what the company is trying to build. The logic is straightforward. People perform better when their effort is seen and named. A strong internal culture, the company argues, creates alignment and accountability that translate directly into reliable client service. When employees are clear on expectations and feel supported, the work product stays consistent. That consistency, in turn, protects client relationships over the long run and keeps the advertiser network stable enough to remain a credible option for local businesses. Golf is not a mass-market sport. It skews older, more affluent, and more geographically concentrated than most advertising environments. That specificity is exactly what makes the Direct Fairways model work for the businesses that use it. Advertisers are not buying impressions from the general population. They're buying time with a defined demographic inside a controlled environment, often for hours at a stretch. The company has built its pitch around that specificity. Whether a course in suburban Ohio or a municipal layout in the Pacific Northwest, the offering is the same: professionally produced materials, an advertiser network, and a company that handles the logistics so courses can focus on operations. For local businesses, the appeal is partly reach and partly fit. Golfers tend to be homeowners, decision makers, and regular consumers of services like insurance, financial planning, and home improvement. An ad placed on a scorecard or cart reaches that profile repeatedly, across multiple rounds, without competing with the digital clutter that defines most other channels. After more than a decade in the market, Direct Fairways reviews from partner courses suggest the model holds. The company has sustained and grown its network to more than 2,500 courses, a footprint that gives it enough density to be a meaningful option for advertisers thinking regionally rather than just locally. The golf industry has seen significant changes since 2015. Through that cycle, the company has continued to expand its course partnerships. Whether the next decade brings the same kind of growth is an open question. But the infrastructure it has built, course by course and client by client, is real. What sets the company apart from general digital advertising is the friction it removes for both sides. A course does not have to manage an ad sales team or invoice local businesses. An advertiser does not have to negotiate directly with dozens of individual facilities. Direct Fairways sits in the middle, handling both, and takes a cut of the value it creates. That structure has proven durable in a niche where most entrants eventually discover that golf courses and small businesses are both difficult to sell to at scale.